Welcome to Taste Your Magic and the YouTube channel where we teach you about your gifts. We allow you to communicate to loved ones, to animals, to your higher self, to those parts of you that are healing, the shadow parts, the parts that are ready to move into the next spaces. On this video, we take you to Luxor, Egypt, where we have elite retreats internationally. And this one takes place at Hatshepsut's temple. She was the longest ruling queen in Egypt. Most of the queens were ruled but as wives of the pharaohs, but she was the sole ruler of Egypt and one of the most powerful women in history. For a lot of her ruling time, she actually took on masculine traits. She even had the fake beard of the pharaohs on her statues, and even, they say, as she ruled, so that she'd be taken more seriously as a pharaoh. And she also used the name Mat-Kare, so M-A-A-T-K-A-R-E. And what this means is truth is the soul of the sun god. And this was so that her people understood she was of truth and she was of God. And as she ruled through, she was for the people and creating a space where her people could flourish. She was known for the buildings that she was able to build. She would restore a bunch of them, and then she'd also build even bigger. And she led her own military campaigns. She went around. There's a theory suggesting that Hatshepsut is the Queen of Sheba. They've been doing a great job restoring this temple that was built for her and also for the mortuary blessings and sacred practices. Every time I come, I love running up the terrace, the stairs, all the way up and just seeing how we can play on it. But what's interesting is the purpose of these three terraces. You can see there's a lower level, there's a middle level, and then there's an upper level. So what these different terraces and levels represent are the different levels of the Egyptian afterlife. Each terrace symbolizes a different realm that the pharaoh would ascend through after death. So the Egyptians are not the only ones that believed in these three terraces of the afterlife and the heavens. You'll learn it in a lot of other religions as well. But as this would go up from what she built back then and what still is around in the carvings and the histories of it and stories told, was that it allowed depictions of her various aspects of her reign and her divine birth story, especially highlighting her legitimacy as a ruler through religious imageries. So the lower one was her earthly life, and they say that it used to have vast vegetation. It was one that talked about what she did as she was the ruler of Egypt and all of the different things she created. Then you walk up into the middle terrace, and this tells stories, and it used to depict outwardly her divine birth and how she was conceived by the god Amon-Ra, and just the aspects of her belief in truth, her belief in the afterlives, her belief of how she was connected through birth as royalty. Then as you travel up into the upper one, now this one was dedicated to the gods. This was where they had the most sacred rituals, and this is where they would prepare for the honorings and for what needed to take place into the next space of the afterlife. There's still a lot of color in the carvings that tell the stories of her life as you go through it. It's really neat to have this experience of seeing this temple. Now, she wasn't buried here. This isn't her tomb. It's a temple of honoring. She was actually buried in the Valley of the Kings with the other pharaohs.
And when we are up there, I want you to have a look at the have a look at the valley, right? What a lovely combination between the green over there and the yellow in here. Those tombs and they were for the workers, and some of them they work as a storerooms. This area, all of it, all the way from here to Valley of the Queens, where where I pointed for you, where the house is, right? All of this area, nobles' tombs, high rank and position. They managed to take a permission in there. As I told you, they haven't discovered all yet. Still 50% underneath, the ground. Just over there, that's where, this is a place where they found 41 mummies. Wow. They hide, those mummies. Please, don't come to me later on and say to me, this is the tomb of Hatshepsut. No. Those mortuary temples for the family to come and give offers, receiving offers from the families to commemorate her memory. Hatshepsut, she was buried in Valley of the Kings as a king. Let's go.
Yes, that's right.
Please.
Yes.
This is a huge temple. It takes up a lot of ground. It's up by the cliffs. We go in hot air balloons and you can see it up in the sky when you're looking down at it. It's just a really neat, clean, fun place to visit where you can get a lot of visual in the history. Now, when you go up, there's a gated spot up in the upper terrace where if you look inside, it has gold platings on the walls even. If you ever come with us, then you will be able to experience this. And as a woman of leadership and spiritual gifts, I love that we get to embrace ancient history of a woman like this that was able to rule Egypt in a brilliant, productive way where something like this could have been built so big in her honor and the stories of her. So think about where you might want to leave a legacy in your life and what would that look like for you?